Good morning, everybody. I am Dave with Nelson Creek Farms. It is a beautiful Saturday morning, the 16th of September, 2023. And we're going to start moving a bunch of stuff today because we've got to. Yeah. So hang on, here we go. First thing I'm going to do is swing some of these old Model T Ford rear axles out of the way. This first one's a really kind of rare 1915 Model T Ford rear axle. Looks the same as a 16 through 25, except it doesn't have ribs on the back side of the brake drums. What I'm actually after will be these, but later on. I'm after the truck frames that are in here. So we're going to move them over to where I've been mowing the weeds. As soon as I get this 1926 axle out of here. Yeah. Had a lot of fun comments from you folks about the counterweight in the tractor. Some of you suggested that I was enough counterbalance. Well, I was for most uses, but not for that farmhand loader. We'll get to the counterweight for the back of the LS tractor before too long. And I'll tell you why I haven't been fooling with it. In case you remember, back when I got it, the only color options were red and green. I didn't want a green one. So I ended up with a red one, which I should have got a blue one. So what the thought was to strip the red powder coat and powder coat it or paint it in blue. Well, haven't got that done yet. Okay. I don't remember what else is in this mess of pile right here. Okay, there's the pan. Ooh, and something else. Oh yeah, another steering column. Okay. Now all these little parts I'll put over there after I get the chassis moved. Now, you're gonna say, man, that's a big pan there, Dave. Well, it is, but those of you that don't know, Model T engine block sat from here to here. And then there was a housing over the top of this back bell-shaped part. It was top of the transmission. Transmission and motor in a Model T Ford are kind of all one piece. Yeah, okay. We got to it, so we can drag it out now. Yep, there's a chain around that drive shaft and whatnot, so we're going to use it. Lift up the front end of this. And lift it up out of these weeds. Just hook it on here to the front end of the bucket, lift and pull. Yeah. As any of you know that have been to an auction, presentation is half of the battle of getting a good money on it, whatever it is you're trying to sell. So I'm going to roll this up here, kind of up next to the fence on the back side of it. But yeah, I'm going to leave the some distance between the frame and the fence that's in front of me that runs north and south. I'm going to put some other stuff in there. Now the only thing the Model T Ford car and light pickup had in common with the Model TT truck was the 20 horsepower engine, the transmission that went with it, the front axle, and the front tires and wheels. Everything else was usually truck chassis stuff. I'm going to move that over just a hair bit more. Like I said, a lot of stuff is in how it is presented to the buyer, on how good of a price tag you get for it. I'm not expecting to get rich off of this Model TT truck stuff by any means, but this axle I'm putting in place has a Hall Scott 2-speed rear axle in it for the Model T Ford trucks, which is kind of collectible for those that like the trucks. I'm putting this, what they call a Ruxtl 2-speed rear axle, out facing where the crowd's going to be, so any potential interested buyers would be more apt to see it and recognize it as what it is and go, oh, hey, that's cool. Now, a Model T Ruxtl in a car added a Ford gear, kind of like an overdrive. In a truck, it geared it down for even more pulling power because you were only dealing with a 20 horsepower motor to start with. So, yeah, we'll roll this ahead just a bit. There. I think one of these would be fun to have between the two rear axles and the two rear end sections. This has got the better rear end, better springs than that one does. I'd change it out, re-rivet it all back together, put a new cross member in this thing after straightening it. And yeah, a Model TT Ford 1-ton truck would be kind of fun. But they are as slow as a tractor. You might be lucky to get 20 miles an hour out of one of these things. You're only dealing with 20 horsepower to start with. Now, believe it or not, that is a complete front axle assembly, except for the springs. Yes, it is. Lift this up. This would have been under this deal, right about there. There would have been a cross member between here that the front spring went from here to that perch, and an arch this way over the axle would have sat up inside of that. Anyway, that's that. And then this is a better look at the engine block. It was from here to here, covered this. That was a plate that went on the bottom of it right here, so you could pull that plate off and tighten up the bearings if you needed to. Flywheel sat in here, and the transmission was back here. And the transmission was a foot-powered automatic. It was almost like a modern day automatic, except instead of working on oil pressure, it worked on foot pressure. And that thing sits in there something about like that. And if you want to bid high enough, this is the steering column. This flange right here bolted to the firewall, tube down the middle of this that you're going to wire through to the horn, and the horn button sat up here on the side of this thing. Steering wheel went here, spark and throttle levers. Yeah, kind of like the old tractors with the magneto. They actually had spark advance on them, so you get them to run right depending on the load. Anyway, there would have been a piece on the bottom of this, and it would have bolted right here. Yeah, but we're going to set this off here to the side because this is one of the pieces that's going to get sold as a separate item. Yeah, if somebody wants that to go with the truck chassis, you're going to buy that too. In the process of getting a Model A Ford frame out from behind that lilac bush right there, I came across a old wooden beamed 5-foot long harrow section. Yeah, so we're going to drag it out here to the field. Quite honestly, I haven't been using it. I forgot it was there, so why hang on to it? Well, this poor old thing has definitely seen a better day or two. It does have a broken beam right here, and the rest of them could all be replaced. but it does have all of its teeth except for the one that was right there where it broke. Yeah, and all the sheet metal or metal in it is straight. So yeah, that could be restored and somebody could use that for a small garden plot or something. After what seemed like forever, I finally tickled the Model A chassis out of that from behind that lilac bush. We're going to set it down here. Just about there. Next out of the weed patch and ready to go to the auction line is a 1930 Model A Ford, or 30 or 31 Model A Ford chassis. Yeah. Okay, what I'm fishing out of the pile right here is some of the plow parts for that Model 39 tumble plow. I think I have both shares, or do I just have the one? I just have the one two-way section. The other one's still in there. Yeah, it's that big S deal. Yeah, that's part of that two-way plow. So I'll have to come back and argue with those thistles again to get the other one out of there. We'll go ahead and run this one on out there to the plow because I've listed the parts on the auction bill. So yeah, we'll get that out there. Well, now we're going to be after that thing. Hopefully we can sneak in there and tie onto it with the chains and drag it out of here. Yeah, I don't need that tractor. I don't want it here anymore now that I've got this thing. So that International 450 is going to go away. The big 450 is coming along. Let's see if we can finagle it out of this area that it's in. Now, here's what I'm up against. I'm got the right front tire of that 450 hooked behind the bucket of the loader on the LS, and I'm literally dragging that 450 sideways until that bucket comes loose, which I don't think it's going to. I think we're hung up now. Yeah, I think we're hung up. So I'm gonna have to get out and do some moving of some chains. Well, we've got the International 450 skidded around a corner, got it unhooked from the bucket fairly easily, and now we're getting it around the Ford tractor, but it's wanting to head off towards the shed, so we're gonna have to drag it to the north some more. There we go. She's turning her front wheels, and now we'll turn, and hopefully that damn thing won't tip us over. It tried to a minute ago while I was off camera. Yeah, that's a little unnervy feeling there. So Dale, if you're watching this, you need to come get that walnut wood in your tractor. Okay, we're gonna have to tug her sideways again. Let's see if we hit the trash can. Nope, it's gonna miss it. Oh, I'll tell you what the story was supposed to be with that International Farmall 450. It was supposed to be my baling tractor. Yeah, it's 50-some horse, so it could have run about any kind of hay baler I could have had. But you know what? I don't have the time available to me to put any time into that to get it running and whatnot, and I've got to use what I've got that does run. Now that the 450 is out of the way, I can move the Polaris Ranger and get what's in the shop out of the shop, and that thing has been sitting in there since 2016, and I haven't touched it really at all since then. So yeah, that's the next thing to go out on the auction line. I don't normally mention other people's channels here on my channel. I just don't have the time, don't need to get it started and mentioning everybody that participates and whatnot. It can lead to be a real nightmare. However, in this particular instance, I'm going to. Matthew over at the Scrap Whisperer mentioned me in one of his comments in my channel and made a note about how I can do political commentary on occasion. Well, I normally try to refrain from anything political, religious, that sort of thing, just to keep from stirring up a bunch of hate mail and that, if nothing else. But in this instance, Matthew, I think I will tell you something about political stuff. Yeah, I will. I recently discovered how old Nancy Pelosi and Mitch McConnell are. Yeah, they went back decades to find this out. Yeah, they did. The researchers surely did. Oh man, I mean, they had to do some digging. But Nancy and Mitch McConnell both worked at a little eatery way back when, where she was a waitress and he was the busboy. Can't tell you how far back the Last Supper was, but they were there. Oh my golly, they're coming for me for telling bad dad jokes. Oh! I've got my own things I need to be doing for myself. I've got laundry to do and that sort of thing, because there ain't nobody else here to do it. And I have to go back to work again tomorrow. So for now, I'm going to wish you well and tell you all to behave and be good and be careful and be courteous and kind. There's too little of that in the world these days. Anyway, you all have a good one. I'm Farmer Dave, and as always, hit the big red button down there that says subscribe on it. I'd appreciate it. And give me thumbs up, thumbs down. Let me know what you think of this in the comments down below. And yeah, keep the ballast jokes coming. Could have used it again today. Anyway, we'll get that squared away one of these days. So, till next time, I'm Farmer Dave, wishing you well. Bye-bye for now.